Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Partner in a Year, the series where I, Nico V, keep a weekly video diary, documenting my journey to try to get the title of Twitch partner within the span of 1 year. At this point, we only have a couple weeks left, so the dream's dead. That sounds a little more negative than I'd like it to be, but I'm finishing strong. I'm finishing strong because who knows? Maybe something crazy will happen in these past 2 weeks. Maybe I'll like win the lottery or something like that. The Twitch lottery, you never know. But again, I want to keep this going until we are at the end. And again, I need to thank everybody that's been supporting me up until this point. You guys are the best. And yeah, so let's talk about what we did this last week. Because again, I know that like the channel and the streaming has been like efficiently dead, but I think that's what I need to do just for my mental, because I've started streaming only twice a week and it's on Monday and Tuesday. And I don't want to say it's never a chore to me to stream. Like I love streaming, but I do it on Monday and Tuesday just so I can get it out of the week early for I can get the two things out of the week. I can get them out of the way early in the week, so then I have the rest of the week to do other things. Um, Again, and it's not a chore, but I do just think that it's better. It's better for me. Um, so we will talk about what we did this past week. I think from this point out, the episodes are going to be a little shorter unless I'm trying to rant about something or complain about something, which you guys know that I love doing. I love complaining, huh? Um, but yeah, so at the start of the week, we played a game called Hotline Miami. Hotline Miami is a fantastic game. Absolutely, just like literally 10 out of 10. Just another game where you're just not really. Another game where you're never not having fun. I didn't know it was made by Devolver Digital. Because I know Devolver has some banger hits, and I think that was their game that was very popular. I really like Devolver Digital as a company because I feel like Devolver Digital has their formula down. I think that they don't want to make games with insanely high graphics. Like they don't want to make these big, huge AAA things where it's like, wow, ray tracing, and wow, look at this big open world you get to explore. I think that they have ideas for making games, and they're like very tight and focused, and that's what I really love about them. Um, the other Devolver Digital game that I played recently was Carrion, and Carrion was a game where you play as a big scary monster with tentacles, and you just go around eating people. Um, my complaint about that game was that the level design was a little too complicated for me. I mean, I'm sure it wasn't very complicated, but like for me as a person, I felt kind of dumb navigating it because it how do I say this? It was kind of tough. Because I feel like I would just get lost a lot because that was in a way kind of an open world. It was kind of like a Metroidvania, Dark Souls type of level design, and there were a lot of times where I just had no idea where to go, and um, because of that, I did resort to using like area guides sometimes where it's like go here next and then go here. But uh, Hotline Miami, I think, is a game that like gets rid of all of that, and like for someone like me, it's perfect because for someone like me who gets lost easily, it's literally just puts you in a room and it says kill everyone in the room and like have fun doing it. And there's parts of the games that legitimate like were starting to frustrate me towards the end, but like in a good way. Like I was getting frustrated because the game was so hard and it was like challenging me to do better. And I really appreciate it for that because as you guys know, Doom Eternal is one of my favorite games. I love single player games that push the player to be better, to like to want to learn the game and get better at the game. And I think that's just really cool. And I'm not talking about like hard games that are like BS that'll just throw an ungodly amount of things at you on the screen or just make it so that you can't really deal with it properly. Um, I think this is it's a very good level of difficulty, and I think that the way the difficulty ramps up as the game goes on is just peak, and I really do I love it and I enjoy it. And I know I've played more Devolver Digital games, but also I think that this one is definitely my favorite. Carrion was good, but also Carrion did have that problem of me getting lost. So there were periods of time, like 20, 30 minutes at a time, where I was just not doing anything, just wondering where the fuck to go. This game is just fun zone every few minutes. Um, But yeah, great game. And then afterwards, we played Fear 3 with Jared, and Fear 3 was an interesting one because Fear 3 was the worst of the Fear series, in my opinion. Because you guys know that I played Fear 1 and I played Fear 2 on stream. Fear 1, I think, had the best and most interesting gunplay because of the leaning and because the guns had recoil. And I also think it was the hardest. It had the hardest hard mode because I always played it on hard mode, or the hardest mode. And that game I think was the most challenging. But the problem with that game, in my opinion, because again, this relates to me specifically. I'm sure a lot of people would disagree and just think that I'm dumb. To me, the problem with Fear 1 was again the level design, just because I felt like in Fear 1 it had kind of like an older school level design. It wasn't very like it wasn't exactly linear. Like it would put you in a level and it kind of had that Doom 1, those Doom 1 vibes where you kind of had to explore the area. And there were many different paths you could go, and you had to like go back on yourself sometimes. And I felt like there were some times when I was playing Fear 1 when I was literally just lost. And again, I think this is just because I have a terrible sense of direction, but it is something that I personally noticed when I was playing. Um, Fear 1 had the best gameplay. Fear 2, I think Fear 2 was my favorite. And I think Fear 2 was my favorite just because I think the gunplay was still good. I really missed the leaning, but it was just more linear, so I felt like playing through the game, I was just more consistently having fun. Because through these games, the shooting was like the shooting was fine. I think that the shooting mechanics were good. I wish the enemies were like a little more reactive. I think the AI got better as the series went on. Um, but I think what Fear 2 lacked in like gunplay, because the gunplay was still good. It's just I just did I just missed the leaning. I just think it being linear lended itself to that series a little better because I feel like Fear 1 and Fear 2 and Fear 3. Let me get a I'll finish talking about I'll finish talking about all of them before I go over like the main problem I saw with all of the games. And that was the story in my opinion. But yeah, so Fear 2 I thought was pretty good. Fear 3, however, Fear 3 I thought was the weakest of the series. It was a co-op experience, and I did have a lot of fun playing with Jared. I had a good time playing it. Like I'm gonna get that out of the way now. I'm not gonna say that like I played through it and it wasn't fun. Because it was. But the problem with Fear 3 is that it was the weakest because I thought that the gunplay was the weakest because the guns in that game, I feel like the guns in the other Fear games, what made them engaging to use was how much recoil they had compared to other like shooters like maybe like Call of Duty. Like shooting the guns in that game, like they would like rise with the recoil, so you had to control them, and I thought that just made the fights a little more engaging. Fear 3 kind of suffered from the Call of Duty thing where none of the guns really had recoil. They just kind of shot where you like aimed them. I also think that Fear 3 was a really big mess in level design because a lot of the levels just felt like they were ripped from Modern Warfare 2. Um, there was like a favela level, and there was an airport level, and then there were just a lot of urban levels that literally just reminded me of the Call of Duty series. And I feel like they didn't really fit into the Fear series, like a series that has always tried to be like a little spooky and revolve around like Alma and all of this and like do the scary stuff. It just did not. It didn't feel unique. Playing through it. Um, and there are problems again with the story. The story just like did not. The story was just not there. It made like absolutely no sense. Like the second player, player 2, Jared, was playing as I don't even remember his name, Patel, and he was a ghost. Also, Point Man, who's the protagonist of the first Fear, who like I assume was supposed to be like a blank slate for the player, right? He's there, but like he just looks so fucking weird. Like I don't know why they made the two characters look so weird, but Point Man just looks like a vampire slash werewolf. Like he looks like he belongs in one of those things. He doesn't look like a military guy, and he's just really ugly. Like his like the model design is just really ugly, and it's just weird. And I feel like they were trying to be really edgy with who he was, but it didn't make sense to me because so I'm going to complain about the story now because the my problem with Fear is that I feel like it's a game that's supposed to be very story driven, right? And it's supposed to like the story's supposed to have a big like the game draws a lot of attention to the story, right? But when I was playing Fear 1, I just didn't care. Like the way that it was presented, I didn't really understand as I was playing it why things happening were important. Same with Fear 2. Fear 2 is a little better on the story because it at least told me what I was doing and why I was going to do things. Um, but Fear 3, the story went back to just being like I don't understand what's going on and I don't really care. Like it just feels like a game that wants to put stress on like this is what's happening in the lore and like the background, but then like when you're playing it, it just does it has so little presence during your mind and the gameplay that like I'm just like whatever, you know. And Fear 3 was really weird. It was just so odd because again, going back to Point Man was the protagonist of Fear 1, so I think they were trying to go for oh, you get to play as the protagonist of Fear 1. Whoa, isn't that cool? Um, but then like they give him a face and they give him a lore. They give Point Man like lore and backstory, and they try to tie him in super hard to the fact that he's Patel's brother and he's like one of the kids from he was like one of the kids from this like facility, right? And like I just it doesn't make a lot of sense because why is he still called Point Man? Why don't they give him a name or like let him talk? Because they give him a face and they give him so much backstory, but they don't give him a name and they still don't let him talk. And like I guess his superpower is he's just really good with guns. And we got the bad ending, or well the Patel ending, right? So Patel takes the baby and takes and eats Alma and takes over the world, and then we looked up what the Point Man ending was, and Point Man just shoots him. So it's like okay, it's very strange because it's a universe where like everything's supposed to be kind of like supernatural and threatening, like things are coming from other dimensions and things like that. Um, but you can just solve all your problems with a gun, which you know that's cool. I like guns, but yeah, I just thought that Fear 3 was the weakest of the bunch. But again, because I was playing it like with Jared, the gunplay's fine. Because I was playing it with Jared, it was pretty fun. But it just felt like it fell short in every aspect that it was trying to do. But yeah. So I did actually rant. I did say in the beginning that these were going to be shorter, but I had to talk about Fear for a little bit. So I think that's a good place to wrap up the episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll be back next week. I think next week is going to be a very light stream week. I really think that I'm kind of busy, so I actually think that I can only stream for one day of the week. And it'll probably be to finish Hotline Miami on Monday. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys again. Again, thank you to all the supporters that are still supporting me during this time. We're gonna finish strong after this year, and then we'll see where to go from there. We'll see what happens to the channel. We'll see what happens with me, like what I decide. But yeah, so thank you guys.